This program is dedicated to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, past, present, and future.
I'm Keith Warren. I'm a hunter, a fisherman,
I'm throwing a big old bait because I'm looking for big old fish.
a conservationist,
Oh, come on.
a family man, and I'm proud to be a deer farmer. I'm taking a road trip, and we're going behind the scenes of today's most innovative deer farmers and wildlife management operations in North America. This is Deer and Wildlife Stories.
As you can see, this is a real busy place. You kind of don't get worked up around here. If you do, you need to kind of leave. This is Hayesville, Ohio. We're in the north central part of Ohio, and we're going to be visiting a guy by the name of Ben Ferguson. Ben grew up here in this little town. Ben is new to the whitetail industry. But let me tell you something, the old timers in the business can take a lesson from Ben. So how did you get your herd started?
Well, I went to the auctions and I studied the business the best I could, and then I identified the genetics that I wanted to bring to my farm so I could create my own herd with, breeding the best of the best.
So what you're going to do is basically take the best genetics in the world, and you're going to lay them out there and you're going to line them up and make your own genetics. Make your own name for yourself. Folks, this has Ben Ferguson, LA Whitetails, and on today's show, he may not be a long-time deer farmer, but you're starting off right, because it is about quality, not quantity. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the place.
I'm looking forward to showing you. Let's go.
All right.
I never thought I'd have a farm. I grew up in this area, and I always knew I wanted a farm, and always had the dream of having a farm one day, but I never thought that I'd have a farm at this age, and the age where I'm able to raise my family on a farm. Deer farming's allowed me to do that here in my hometown, Hayesville, Ohio, in north central Ohio. We named the deer farm LA Whitetails. The reason why is the farm's actually Lane Allen Farms. The reason why we did that is when I purchased this farm, I had two children. My daughter, Lentley Lane, and my son, Layden Allen. I chose deer farming, number one, because I grew up a hunter, and I've always had a love for whitetail deer. I found deer farming is much more of a family-type farm unit, and the biggest thing is we were able to do the farming we wanted to do on a much smaller tract of land as opposed to crop farming and other things like that. What I chose to do with the deer farming, and why I chose to do that, is because of the return on investment for the amount of acreage I'd have to use for deer farming is far better than what I could get today in the crop market. I can sell 2 does and make more profit for the farm than I could by farming 60 acres for agricultural. Growing up working in corporate America, there's a big difference for what I'm doing today in the deer farming community. I've never been able to have my family involved. With deer farming, every day they know exactly what Dad does, and they actually are encouraged, and quite honestly, they're excited to help out. Today, I have my wife and 2 youngest with me to help with chores on the farm.
I like that peanut.
She likes that peanut, doesn't she?
Yeah.
My 2-year-old boy Lowen's with me today. He loves deer, and he loves helping Dad out with the chores. He's quite a handful. Now, Lowen is not your typical 2-year-old. He's got the gift of gab, and he's never met a stranger yet.
Okay, your daddy got some big ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this.
All right, that. Okay. Come on, sweetie.
Fishy?
Say, come here, baby.
Come baby, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't eat that. I'm not baby, that mommy.
That's the mama. Where's the baby?
I'm older. Is it that way?
That way. Hey, how about bucks? You got any big bucks this year?
That like this.
Like that? They really? Where are they?
Like this.
Where are they, though?
That way too.
Let's go look at them. Show them to me, because I'm kind of interested in some big old bucks. So you like deer farming?
Yeah.
You like being out here in the country?
Like my dad do.
Mm-hmm.
See, but I know.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That rock.
A rock? You want to pick it up? Get it. Cool. You sure look like you been working out?
Never.
Another rock. Let me see that. Oh, that's a nice rock.
Yeah.
Speaking of rock,
You rock.
ooh, look at those muscles.
Yeah.
You've been working out?
Never.
Another rock, okay.
Never.
Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by the North American Deer Farmers Association, DNA Solutions and the North American Deer Registry, New Dart, and Sage Capital Bank.
My deer farm is located approximately 1 hour south of Cleveland, 1 hour north of Columbus, and approximately an hour west of Akron. We're about 10 miles outside of Ashland, Ohio. LA Whitetails is a 100-acre farm. Right now we have 13 deer pens up, and we're adding a couple more this fall. We have approximately 80 mature does. We have 9 yearling bucks, and we have the rest are all fawns this year. I bought this property in 2006, and when I came and saw the property, there's a farmhouse on the property that was built in 1840. And across the yard, there was a barn that was built in 1842. We looked at the barn, and first thought was, it was in such bad shape we may need to take that down for safety reasons. Then the more we looked at the barn and thought about how we could dismantle it, we actually found that it was pretty structurally sound and actually had a heck of a lot of heritage along with it. So we've spent a lot of time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears, and have completely renovated an 1842 barn into a living space, which is going to be a lodge for this business. We chose a strange construction for a building here. I wanted to make sure my office was as high as I could get it so I could see as much of the farm as I could. Anywhere you look outside of my office, you're going to see deer. We put my office approximately 40 feet in the air, and the employees' offices right below me it's still up there. They can see almost everything I can see, but I can see when they come and go too.
Boy, talk about a nice big facility. I can't wait to see the inside.
Oh, we think it's something special. We're still under construction, but it won't be long we'll get it finished up.
Where all the business goes on, huh? Ohio does have some of the prettiest deer farms, and this right here is setting the bar.
So this is our showroom walking into here. If you make a left here, we'll go over to the handling facility.
Wow. You know how to do things right.
We try.
Wow. Boy, you got serious, didn't you?
Well, I tell you what, that was the office. This is the handling facility, and I believe this is where the money's made. What this is the Papa Deer Handler. The reason we use this is we feel it's the best piece of equipment for handling deer, for the safety, for the health of the animal, and efficiency really for us.
So how's it work?
Give me about 30 seconds and I'm gonna show you how we run deer.
Well, do it.
This is a sliding wall we have. We bring this down. Come over here, Keith, and I'll show you how we pop this in.
Wow.
Yeah, pull it out here. We're gonna plug this in here. All right, I'll kick this in here real quick. All right, pop this out, slide this out. We're gonna cover up this window here. All right, now we're ready to run deer.
Okay, so this wall right here, this door, when you actually just close it, what happens when these deer come through right here?
Absolutely, the deer's gonna come through right here. We're gonna send them around the angle. You can tell we 45 this. We think that the less sharp angles, the better. So what we've tried to do is eliminate a lot of those sharp angles. Let me show you. What we did here, Keith, is again, just a little extra precaution, just tried to take the 90 degree out, put it into 45. So we'll come down through here, the deer come around, they head out, and then they're back to where they came from in the alleyway, and we'll sort them.
What's this deal right here?
Well, we put a pulley system in. This is bringing deer in, and we use the pulley systems to basically, we'll set the push wall up, we'll pull the door down, we'll latch it, and at that point, we have 2 push walls. We'll put one on the end, we'll have one set here, we'll bring them around. When the deer comes through, has nowhere to go but in there. You can come up here with your push door, unlatch this, your deer are safely and quickly put away in a stall.
Let's go outside. That right there is slick.
So we'll run the deer through, They'll come out this way. They'll go down here or down here. We have a series of gates we'll block off wherever we don't want them to go, and that helps us sort them back into their pens.
What are these?
This is the outdoor stalls. We use these whether we're separating deer for AI, whether we're separating deer for vaccinations, or if we have a sick deer that needs a little extra medical attention, we'll bring them in here and keep an eye on them for a day or two. This all attaches to our back corral.
That is pretty slick right there.
I'll show you down here how we bring the animals in through the corral. So this is our corral.
Okay.
We'll bring them in here. Whether we're working one deer or working 20, we bring them all through the corral. We want them used to the process, to the total handling system, how we work it. So when it comes time for lap AI, we can keep the stress as low as possible, which again gives a better conception rate.
I want to show y'all, see the way this, they've got these boards right here to keep a deer from hitting their shoulder, their side, or their head on these posts right here, and that really helps them. Well, this is nice. Let's go look at some live deer.
The topic of hunting private land versus public land is one of the most heated things there is amongst hunters today. I recently heard of a group of public land hunters that were criticizing the private landowner as being selfish and greedy because the private landowner wanted to charge an access fee to his private land. But America was founded upon the principles of private land ownership. And in my opinion, we ought to be thankful to those private landowners that allow us to pay an access fee to go on their land and hunt or fish. So I think we ought to be grateful to those landowners, especially when we consider the fact that those same landowners, they could sell out to land developers and we would lose that habitat for all time and eternity. We need to remember that there are activists out there that want to end all hunting, shut down deer farming, and halt habitat management efforts. They are aggressive and they're working hard to systematically legislate away our hunting traditions, no matter where it takes place. As hunters, we must stand united for the sport in all its forms and all its areas, both public and private. For more information on the American Deer and Wildlife Alliance, please join us online at deerwildlifealliance.org.
Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you in part by the North American Deer Farmers Association, DNA Solutions and the North American Deer Registry, New Dart, and Sage Capital Bank.
Got some babies over there in the shade.
Oh yeah.
I don't blame them.
Guess I'm down here in the aisle.
You got to be Delvey. I'm Keith. Good to see you.
Well, since I started this farm, it's really brought me a lot closer with my brother. This farm has brought us much closer together to the point now where he's not just my brother, he's my best friend. I actually brought him in. He's the farm manager who handles all the deer for me. He handles the health of the deer. He's helped set up all the deer pens, the facility. He feeds and waters the deer each day. And more than anything, it's really developed a relationship with myself and my brother. It's really brought everybody back closer together as a family.
I enjoy it. Enjoy it. Never enough time in the day.
All right. This is a slick little deal right here. This is a man gate right here. And that is slick. I'm gonna have some of these on mine. I promise. So who is this guy?
In here we have one of our yearlings we call Bulldog. You know, we're expecting big things out of him coming up. He looks pretty good as a yearling, and I'll tell you what, we think he's bred right.
Now tell me about his breeding.
He is Spider on Shadow, Jekyll, P. Geronimo, Flip Max.
He's got it all.
That's production
He's
on
got it all.
production on production.
Yep.
So,
No, and proven genetics too.
that's
so,
right.
well, that buck right there, somebody may look at him and say he's not the biggest yearling in the world. There's no question. I mean, there's some bigger yearlings, but
That's
I
right.
can promise you, I don't know of another buck that has got blood like that. And it's all about predictability. And
That's
that's the whole thing about DNA. And when we talk about DNA pedigrees and profiles and the North American Deer Registry, that all plays a key role in trying to determine the lineup on what
Oh.
you've got there.
We agree. You know, we DNA every animal on our farm. And That's exactly the reason why. If you're ever going to trust a pedigree, he's one I don't mind trusting.
Hey, kitty. Well, look at this. I mean, this right here. I want to know who you bred this one with. I mean, you got a deer little kitty there. Okay. Show me some other bucks.
All right, let's go.
All right, so who do we have here?
Well, this is the pen of yearlings I was talking to you about. And we have 6 yearlings that we feel strong about. And like we talked about, you know, these aren't the biggest yearlings out there, but I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot smaller.
I'll tell you what, there's a couple in there that are dandies. I mean, I like that one, these wide.
Yeah.
On the left-hand side,
That's
it's
right.
got that extra stuff in his beam. That's a nice deer. Now, all this stuff is a result of AI?
Absolutely. All these bucks were grown on this farm.
Well, they're beautiful. And, you know, what is your philosophy as far as grading the deer? When are you going to make the decision whether that deer is going to make the team to breed or not?
Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of that has to do with the pedigree. There are some pedigrees that we bred with, and you know, if we see that they're continually not producing, then we'll go ahead and move those out.
Okay.
Whether it's 2 or 3 or 4 years old. But what I have drawn a line in the sand and said, I want to see when they're 3 years old. I don't want to trust a yearling. You know, we have some nice looking yearlings out here, and some people have been impressed with them. But I'll tell you what, I like to trust a pedigree. I feel much more comfortable trusting a pedigree. So we're going to see how they are at 2, and we're going to give them at 2, we're going to see how they are at 3. Now there's going to be select ones out of here that have a strong enough pedigree that we're going to breed this year.
Okay.
We do have one older buck here on the farm, LA Drift. We purchased him as a backup buck when I got started. We artificially inseminate all of our does. We have a very high conception rate. We don't have a lot for him to cover, but we do use him as a cover buck.
Yeah, I just think you've got some awesome deer. This is really, really good. Okay.
Well, thank you.
If somebody wants more information on coming out here and looking at some of your deer, give me your phone number.
419-651-2070.
Okay.
We're happy to have them.
Well, I know when I'm walking around the farm with you, I mean, one thing that I'm noticing here that I don't notice at a lot of farms is that you don't have a lot of bucks. But there's a reason for that, because you haven't been farming but, what, 2 years?
That's right. Yeah, we haven't been farming, so, you know, our pens are new, they're fresh. We're cautious with our pens. We also spray for insects. Depending on the time of year, we spray every day, sometimes a couple times a day.
I notice also in the pens you leave the grass standing tall in some areas, and other areas you got it mowed down, and obviously the reason for that is to give the deer some cover.
That's right. And again, it depends on the time of year. There's sometimes we mow it tight. Right now with the fawns on, we feel that giving them a good 12, 14 inches of cover is a good thing, especially when the heat of the summer. And what we do is we just rotate that. We have a strip we'll leave tall, then we mow it down, let something else grow up in the pen.
Well, on the breeding, I mean, it's all about breeding, and you've got to have good genetics, because if you feed the best feed in the world to average genetics, you're going to still have good fed, average genetics.
That's right.
So what I look at is that we're going to feed the best feed in the world, but we're going to try to feed it to the best genetics we can put together. And you're building the best genetics you can build, aren't you?
I believe so. We're sure trying. I believe it's not mostly the genetics, it's entirely the genetics. I think everybody's going to feed their deer good feed. And I know there's a difference in feed, and everybody has their opinion, but I think everybody will tell you genetics is what makes big deer.
Absolutely, but there also has to be some luck involved.
That's right.
I mean, there's so many different factors. You know, stress is a huge factor, and I look at your deer and they're just as gentle as can be, and I haven't seen one get fired up yet.
You won't. We believe that keeping the deer as calm as possible helps with the overall health of the animal. And I know in this business, people want to talk pedigree, people want to talk score, people want to talk the look. I believe wholeheartedly that we need to talk health. If you keep these animals as healthy and as stress-free as possible, then it's going to help you have the conception rate, which is going to help you return your investment when you're buying this semen and when you're paying for cover bucks and things like that.
Okay, let's switch gears. I want to talk about your family. I mean, I come up here and I think you have one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been to. You don't hear any noises except for nature, a woodpecker or a crow, or maybe a child's laugh.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool because the kids are outside. How cool is that to be able to have the kids and bring them up on a deer farm?
America was founded on small businesses, particularly small farms. And I can't be more proud in the year 2011 to go back to our country's roots with a small business and a small farm. There's not a whole lot of people today, Keith, that are starting farms. And at the age of 30, I bought this property. Came here to raise my children on a farm and in a farm environment. And now they have an opportunity to be a part of a small business on a farm. And I think that's pretty neat, and I'm excited for their future. I tell everybody, yes, I raise white-tailed deer, but first I raise my family. First I raise my children. And I can't be happier with the life experiences and the environment in which they're growing up on, which is this farm.
No, I look at Lowen, and I think it being 2 years old, I mean, that kid is full of fire. I mean, it's just awesome. But how's he work around the deer?
I tell you what, he's something special to watch. Lowen, he likes to do all the chores. He follows me around this farm. It's amazing for a little 2-year-old. I'd be willing to bet he puts a couple miles a day in here chasing me around these deer pens.
Okay, if somebody wants to get a hold of you and find out more information on LA Whitetails, how do they do that?
They contact me directly at 419-651-2070.
And if you want more information about deer farming in general, whether you're in Florida or I don't care what state you're in, Ohio, Texas, contact NADEFA. And NADEFA, we've got a link right off our website to theirs, and contact NADEFA, and they can put you in touch with the people in your state to help you get set up in deer farming. But I encourage everybody out there, go to a deer farm. White-tailed deer just may change your life. For more information on LA Whitetails, you can contact Ben Ferguson by going to our website, where we'll have a direct link from our website to his. Or if you want to get a hold of me, you can log on to my Facebook page. And I hope you enjoyed today's show. I promise you, if you come out here to LA Whitetails, right now the deer may be young, but give them another year, and with the genetics that they've stacked, they're going to be giant. We'll see you next week.
Before you make your next Polaris purchase, you owe it to yourself to check out the #1 Polaris dealer, Hoffpower Polaris. Log on to keithwarren.net for 24/7 access to more information, more video, and full episodes. Reproductive services for deer and wildlife stories provided by Dr. Ray Favero's Whitetail Genetics.